So with the island, there's only two ways to get on. Obviously, you could take a boat or a bridge. Well, in our case, Brian's parents didn't have a boat, but some of the neighbors did. And I gotta say, we always seemed to have a boat, even though we didn't own one, and we never really asked permission. The other way to get on the island, as I mentioned, was through a bridge, obviously. And so we decided to build a bridge of our own on the backside of the island because that was the closest from land to the island. But with our group, and especially with Brian, there's always more to the story than meets the eye, and this bridge was no exception. So unlike a normal bridge that you just walk on over to get to one place to the other, we actually built in booby traps. So we were the only ones that could use the bridge because we didn't want the other neighborhoods playing there. So we built in false steps. So if you didn't know where you were going on the bridge, then you would fall in the water and thus not be able to make it up the bridge. And so we constructed this magnificent island fort. We were out there a lot. Spent a lot of our time at Brian's house on the fort, on the island. It was wonderful. And although we kept improving the island or improving the fort, the last piece of the puzzle for us in our island adventure was putting a zip line out. And Brian's dad, Dennis, helped us do that. But basically, from the top of the fort all the way up was about 25 feet in the air. Get on a small platform, grab the zip line, zip on across the water, let go, and splash in the lake. It was, as you can imagine, a whole lot of fun for kids our age to have our own zip line. Well, it was all fun and good until one day Brian decides to go to the island by himself and was climbing up to get on the zip line, and unfortunately slipped and fell, smacks the island in excruciating pain, hollering, screaming. Finally, Dennis and Susan heard him come outside. Brian tells them what happened. They call the paramedics. Paramedics fly out to the house, come out the island. Of course, they immediately go to the bridge to go across to get Brian to treat him, see what happened, not knowing that there was a false step. So of course, the paramedics step in the wrong spot on the bridge, commence to flipping the bridge over, falling in the water, and it was a complete disaster. And there Brian is in complete agony, having fallen 20 feet on the island. In the end, he ended up breaking his pelvis. So you imagine how painful that is. So all the irony of this story was that the false steps that Brian put in the island came back to haunt him when he was trying to get treated after falling from the zip line. So eventually, the story comes full tilt. The paramedics had to take the stolen boat, go out and get Brian, bring him back, go to the hospital, and he did recover from it, thank God. But it certainly is, in hindsight, looking back, one of those stories that will be with me forever, and it just always makes me smile. Think about those paramedics falling off the bridge in the water and just what they must have been thinking. And there Brian is laying in a whole lot of pain, just hoping they could get across to help him out. And I know it's a little bit strange to tell a story about Brian getting hurt as one of my favorite memories, but for me, the story encapsulates so much of Brian's essence and who he was. His love of being outdoors, his deep desire to explore the world. Although we were from a small town here in Kansas, Brian always saw the world as a bigger place and wanted to explore and be a part of it. And that started in his childhood and carried all the way through his career in the military and all the places he went on deployments, Iraq and Afghanistan. And it also speaks to his mischievous nature and his love of having a good time. I mean, who else puts a booby trap on a bridge, right? I mean, it speaks to so much of Brian's inner self. And so, for me, although Brian got hurt in the story, it just captures of so much of who he was and his essence. And so, as my best friend, I miss him dearly. I love him. I think about him every day, and I do anything to have him back here to share these times with him.